Hey, you guys, this is Bill Leverty of FireHouse, and you're watching Show Me Your Pick with my brother, Fruitcake Tony. And don't forget to get our new song, Mighty Fine Lady, at firehousemusic.com.
All right, what's happening? We did it.
What's up, people?
We did. What's up? We
Focus.
are live.
Focus.
It is Saturday night. Fruitcake Tony, Brendan B. Squared, Edvis, Ed DeBrill in the house. 251. What's up, fellas?
Oh, just damn happy to be here as every Saturday. Even though we only have a couple left, this is it's awesome. I'm fanboying out, so I don't have words today, so
Yeah, me too. Very, very exciting night here and times around here, but yeah.
Yes.
Woo. Yes. 251, Ed and Brendan, is FireHouse. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Woohoo.
We have been, yes, amen.
Long time waiting for this.
You guys know, and a lot of you in the chat know and watching. I'm a huge FireHouse fan. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm here in North Carolina. So yeah, I'm a big FireHouse fan. But really, at my age now, 60, it was right on time, and we watched those guys happen right before our eyes, right here, and very proud of them and love that music. And so during this episode, we're doing FireHouse. We have special guest Bill Leverty with us tonight. Yes, we do. Man, I am super stoked, and like you say, B, trying not to fanboy out. My goodness. Yes.
But that's why there's three of us.
And I do have on my original Sparky
Got your
shirt.
Sparky.
Yes.
All right.
Has many holes in it. I'm not going to show them to you. Many holes. Can't wash it, but I wore it tonight.
Ew. No,
I did.
Febreze.
Febreze. There you go.
Cake Tony. No, it's all good. It'll be fine.
All right.
It'll be fine, Tony.
Brendan, you got your FireHouse shirt on.
I have a Fire Station shirt because I don't have a FireHouse shirt, but our friend Andy Carson, who was a firefighter in Chattanooga, Tennessee, sent a bunch of us some.
Yep.
I think he actually.
I have one.
To send one to Bill as well. So
yeah,
we'll talk to Bill about that.
We'll hook them up.
I'm sure he's got a lot of FireHouse.
I've got my FireHouse logo right here.
Yes, you do.
Andy Carson is most likely in the chat, and he is a mighty firefighter in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Station 5, proud. Yeah. We all wear his shirt and play his guitar picks.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So speaking of the chat, I know there are a few people over there in the chat. Welcome, everybody. If you're new here, thanks for being here. We talk guitar picks and rock memorabilia every Saturday night right here. Yes, we do.
Yep.
Subscribe here if you're not already. Thank you for that. And tell a friend and share this over on one of your socials over there. And tell your girl too. She'll tell her friend. So thanks for all that.
What was that commercial?
And so on and so on. I don't know, some hair product.
She'll tell it was shampoo, I think.
Yeah.
But
we'll be recognizing people in the chat as we go too, guys. So
yeah, and if you have questions for Bill, we might select one or two from the chat. So
yes,
but be ready for that. But yeah, and if you're watching on replay, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, and also for you collectors, during the course of the evening, we're going to show you a lot of guitar picks from a bunch from Bill, some from Alan, some Perry, and some Michael Foster drumsticks.
Nice.
Too. So yeah, look for all of that during the course of the evening. Thanks everybody for being here. We normally play a little game during the 7th inning stretch at the 1 hour called 10 Shot Rock and Roll Trivia. A lot of fun. We are not, due to our special guest that we have tonight. So that'll return next week, you trivia guys and gals. So all righty.
Man, there's a lot of people in there.
So I guess let's bring in our special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, how else can I say it? Let me put my finger on the right button here. Guitarist Bill Leverty. There he is.
Oh, look at that's
all right.
Chick. Look at that.
Look at that.
There he is.
Leverty.com.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hey Bill, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Having a great night. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thanks for being here. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see
Thank
you guys.
you so much for being here. My goodness.
Yes.
Well, thanks for wearing the FireHouse, shirt, the FireHouse hat, the fireman shirt, and the multi-band with FireHouse included on yours. It's so cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's the least I could do.
Yeah, seriously,
Bill.
for what you've done for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
It's the least we could do.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the music first.
Well, thanks for listening to it, man.
We'd love it.
Yeah, thank you.
We've loved it for a long time too. So, and Mighty Fine Lady, brand new song, FireHouseMusic.com, Leverty.com, right there.
Song.
It's a rocker. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Thanks, man. We had a lot of fun making that one.
Right.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh.
A lot of fun birthing that girl.
Let's change views here.
There we go.
Like that. How about
they
that?
See me. They want to see Bill.
Yeah.
Right on. That's a better view right there. Yeah.
That's better.
Nice. All right. So Bill, thank you for being here. Let me ask you this. We all kind of know the history of how FireHouse got going and what two bands started it and all. But take us back a little further to your youth. Do you come from a musical family?
Well, not really, but my dad did get a piano when I was maybe 8 years old, and I learned chopsticks and I learned heart and soul. And but my dad was smart. He learned he got sheet music and learned how to play Scott Joplin's The Entertainer is what that song's called.
Oh, wow.
So that's how he wasn't a musician as far as I knew until then, and he got that. And he'd go down there and play on that piano, and he learned that song. And he was reading the sheet music while he did it. So he was a smart guy, you know. But other than that, no, I didn't have any. I had a babysitter later who had a little 4-string guitar, and she taught me. Let me grab this guitar over here that I'll just show you the song that I don't have it plugged in, but it's something like this. So it's kind of a song you would play on a 4-string guitar, four chord song. And let's say it's a 1, 6, 4, 5 progression in G. And I took to that. I loved it. And I was like, Mom, I want to take guitar lessons. So she said, okay. So I went, and they sent me to the music store where they had guitar lessons, and they put I think it's called Mel Bay sheet music in front of me with Row, Row, Row Your Boat on it, and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and all that. And I was just so bored, and I quit. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And then at about the age of 15, there was a guy who was offering group lessons, and I was like, let me give this another try, Mom and Dad. And they were like, okay, this time you're buying your own guitar. So, because they had bought me this little thing. So I saved up my paper route money, and actually they loaned me the money. I paid them back, and I got a nylon string frameless guitar. That was my first real guitar that I ever bought. And I took these lessons, and the teacher taught chords instead of notes first. You learn chords first. And I learned a D chord, I learned a C chord, and I learned a G chord, and then I could play Sweet Home Alabama. And then I was in a band after that. So that's how that progressed.
Progression.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's it.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So my brother also plays guitar. He's a really good guitar player, but he started after me. So we didn't really have a musical family, but my dad did have a piano there, when I was about 8, and for a few years. I don't remember if he kept that thing or not, but it was yes and no. So a little bit musical.
Right. So a little fast forward there to your high school years, and when did you realize that hey, I'm good at this, and I want to pursue this?
Well, I still don't think I'm good at it, which I think helps me practice more. So that's kind of been helpful to me, is to never think I'm any good. You second guess yourself forever, but in high school I took music theory, and that helped me a lot. I had this great teacher named Dean Ensminger, and he's the choral director at Belmont University in Nashville now. And my one regret is that I didn't take vocal lessons from him, because he had the chorus there. He was the choral director in my high school at Douglas Freeman High School in Richmond, Virginia. And so that music theory course really helped me out and really opened up a lot of doors for me and made me really realize things that I had no idea existed. And so then I went to college for a year, and I took my guitar with me. And then I came home after that year. I had pretty good grades. I didn't do great, but I didn't flunk out or anything. But I told my mom and dad that I really wanted to try to do music full time. And then they were like, well, we think you're making a big mistake. Your chances of making it are 1 in a million and all that. But I was like, well, look, I can always go back to college if I have to, but I want to try this for a while. And I did. And I had a full-time job working in a grocery store, and I was playing in a band, at night, moonlighting. And then I got in a different band, which led to a different band. Then I left the grocery store, worked in a music store, the same music store that I took my first guitar lessons, sheet music lessons with. And then the band took off a little bit more, so I had to leave the music store, and I moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina, where you kind of near where you are, and with Michael Foster. And that's kind of where we really started to really put the foot on the gas with the band.
Right on. Right on. And that's White Heat.
Yeah, we were White Heat at that point. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Nice. So when did you, I mean, you knew who Perry and CJ were. How that really come close and how that come about exactly?
Well, we had a demo that we had recorded, Michael and I, in our band White Heat, and our singer had to leave, and we needed a singer on that demo. And that's right about the time that CJ and Perry's band had broken up. They were called Max Warrior. And I don't know how I got CJ's number, but I got his number, and I said, hey, can I mail you a tape? That was back when you mailed a cassette tape. And I sent him this demo that we hadn't finished. And he said, I love this. I'd love to sing on this. And I said, well, let's do it. When can you do it? And we scheduled some studio time with the studio where we were in the midst of recording this demo in Zebulon, North Carolina.
That's near me.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. So CJ was living in Charlotte at the time, and we drove down from Richmond, and he sang on it. And as soon as he sang on it, we knew that we had a shot here.
Nice.
And it was because he was crushing it.
Yeah.
Definitely iconic voice for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all you guys though, plus the advantage is both two of you were tight already with each other, and the other two, they were tight already with each other, and the four knew each other, so it was a perfect storm.
It really was. I mean, we Michael and I moved down to Charlotte. Perry wasn't ready to join the band yet. So we just kept writing, kept recording, and Michael and CJ and I were working in kind of a variety band down in the Charlotte area, playing cover tunes and, variety kind of music, which was kind of cool because it kept you on your toes and it kept you learning new stuff. And every time you learn a song, you learn a little bit more about music and playing and singing. And we got a tape to a couple of people, and that kind of led to us getting a record deal. But I'll slow down so in case you want to get into
that. So you got your deal, and things were happening though. But the bottom line though, they were great songs on that first record. They were great songs top to bottom. The last two are awesome as any on them. I mean, great songs. There's no substitute for great songs. Yeah, you can name them, all of them, everything off the first album.
Everybody knows them. Yeah, everybody knows them.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
No filler.
Well, thank you.
No.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the initial writing process like once you realized you kind of had magic there in a bottle?
It varied. The first song that CJ and I wrote together, that demo that we recorded, none of those songs ended up on our first record. That was all.
Oh wow.
We felt like we were ready to go, but we really weren't. I mean, there were some good songs on there, but nothing that was really strong enough, I guess. But the first song we wrote in 1986 was a song called "Helpless," and that was the last song on that first record.
Yeah.
And they were all different. They all, CJ was always thinking of ideas and angles on how to come up with a different lyrical idea or melody or a chord progression or whatever. And I was doing the same. And we just get together and say, hey, here's what I came up with last night. Hey, what'd you come up with? And we each had a little notebook of ideas, and what's in your hook book is what we called it, the hook book.
Right.
So we always traded ideas like that. And if one of us had something that the other one liked, we would pursue it and, try to complete it. And usually if it wasn't worth completing, it would tell you pretty quickly once you got into it. You'd realize, yeah, we can do better. So we had tight filters on, I think, once we really started to get into the process.
Right. Yeah, things started really happening at that point. You're finding yourself playing the more larger halls there all of a sudden, and here and there, and still writing all the while. But was it happening in real time a little bit much, or did all you guys handle it well at the time?
Well, I felt like once that first record came out, everybody handled it great. I felt it all happened really quickly, in my opinion. And the way I remember, we didn't have much time to really sit back and party about it. We were working on what we're going to do tomorrow. And tomorrow we had to get up really early and go into the radio station and play whatever song was on the radio that the station was playing, and go have lunch with the program director, and then go have sound check, and then go back and get something to eat and get a shower, and then go up and play the gig, and then go back and get a shower, get in the bus and drive to the next place. So, and repeat the cycle. It was a rinse and repeat for sure. And, but we had kind of already done the road thing in our old bands, in learning how to take care of ourselves and have a balance of a little bit of a party, but then knowing you got to sing the next day, so you can't blow your voice out whooping it up too much. You have to take care of yourself.
Right. Yeah, well, you did so you played Yamahas early, right, Bill?
Yeah, so the first album, I recorded all those electric guitars with two Jackson soloist guitars. So those were my first guitars that I recorded with. But right after I recorded and put the record out, Yamaha approached me with an endorsement deal, and I played their Pacifica guitars. They were great guitars. Yamaha Pacificas. Hold on, I got to quit this messenger. My messenger's going off. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Kept getting doodle-doo in these headphones. Yeah, so the Yamaha Pacifica 1221M was my go-to guitar that they made and that I loved, and had a great neck on it. It was really wide and thin, so my fingers fit it well, and their own version of a Floyd Rose that was great, and it was great.
Yeah, then you went to Grem, right? You signed an endorsement with Grem.
I sure did.
Is that behind you?
Behind me is one of my CR Allsip guitars.
CR Allsip. Is that,
so yeah, but the Grems were great guitars. I mean, they were phenomenal guitars, and I did a lot of recording with them, and I was with them for a few years, and
now you're with Allsip still.
Yeah, the CR Allsip guitars are great. This is
so that's
this
the
one's
DC vintage.
This one's called Howley. It might be a double cutaway vintage. That sounds right. This is
it looks like it. That's cool.
It's neck through body.
Oh, that's awesome.
Purple Heart maple, and then this is basswood on this one, and a Koa top. Floyd FU tone upgrades and stuff on this one. Next to my Jeff Beck wired. That's a blow by blow actually album, and then this one over here. Let me grab this is my main one I'm using now. This is a kind of a telly shape, and and the back of it is very similar kind of woods.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
Purple Heart.
Yeah,
teak.
Purple Heart is hard to make. Purple Heart is hard to carve too.
It really is. You have to have a mask on, and you have to. You'll chew up your blades doing it, but it will not warp.
No.
So that's the great thing about these. Neck through body, will not warp. It's in tune. I'll get off a cruise, playing a gig, and then I'll show up in Fargo, North Dakota, pull it out, and pull it out of the case. It's in tune. So
yeah, they do definitely hold their tune. And neck through is solid. So it's
working for me. So
it seems to be. I mean, since you've been with Alsep since 2012, I guess.
That sounds about right.
Quite a while. So
yeah.
But no, that's awesome. And I mean, everybody knows Lucky 13, that guitar. You've seen that on many of the videos and other stuff like that. And it's just they're iconic, and your sound is just iconic too.
Oh, thanks, man. Well,
yeah, it's
I
very cool.
I have 13 cased away in the other room. She's taking a nap. But that's another neck through body, Purple Heart, maple. Really, really great.
What about for amps and pedals? Do you have favorites or
I am using the Fractal Audio stuff exclusively now. I've been using them for 13, 14 years now. And I record with it, play it live, and never been happier. It sounds better than a real amp. And
it's
I can't believe
it's amazing technology now. What you can do, and you can pretty much go anywhere you want now. You don't have to carry like a ton of stuff, and the roadies are happy. So
it's come such a long way. And when I was first approached by this buddy of mine who is a tone snob, I'll call it what it is. He, was like, man, you got to try this thing. I've never heard anything. I didn't believe it. You won't believe it. So I was like, well, if he likes it, I'm going to probably like it. And I got one. I got the XFX 2 back then when that was their rack unit. And I just loved it. And it's come a long way from then. And what I fly around with, I'll show you what it is. Let me unplug it here real quick. It's called their FM3. F as in Frank, M3. I got to unhook it from my floor here, but this is it's a little dusty right now, but this is it. Oh, and it's got a custom skin on it that my buddy Edward Wood gave me.
Nice.
But this is the FM3 right here.
That's awesome.
And so this gets packed in a little Pelican case, and I roll it through the airport, and then I put it in the overhead compartment. And my stress level and my anxiety level just goes down, and I know I got my rig with me. Yeah, I got a backup rig, but I've never had to use it. It's never failed me, and I love the way it sounds. And even more importantly, our sound man loves the way it sounds, and he will let you know if he doesn't like it, and he loves it. So
nice.
That is cute.
B, let me I'm gonna turn the corner. I know you want to come back to gear here real quick. Let me give a special shout out. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. I see all of you. A lot of friends here tonight. A special shout out to the great Nate Peck.
Oh,
FireHouse lead singer. Nate, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Nate's a monster.
Yes.
Vocal phenom.
For sure.
I gotta tell you the story about how we met him.
Cool. Good set of pipes on there.
Yeah. Well, so CJ needed a third surgery, and it was a major one. And a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, Robbie Lochner, who is a phenomenal guitar player, with Jack Russell's Great White, rest in peace. But Robbie Lochner called me up and he said, "Hey, I know you guys got some shows on the books, and you might need a substitute singer for CJ, and I know a guy, and he's got that tone. You ought to check him out." So I was like, "Well, all right, I'll check him out." And I went on Instagram and I found Nate Peck singing the most difficult songs of our genre and the 70s and stuff, but all the highest of the high singers and the most powerful singers, and he's just nailing them. and he's singing them all in one take. And I was like, wow. So I had his number from Robbie, and I called him up and I said, would you be interested in filling in for CJ while he's recovering from a surgery? And Nate was like, I'd love to. I said, well, okay, do you know any of our songs? He goes, well, I've heard Love of a Lifetime. I don't really know any of the other songs. I was like, well, I'll send you the set list. I'll send you the songs. And we'll see you at the sound check for our next gig, which is New England Rock Fest, which is a John Kivel production. And so we're like, well, you know, yeah, I'm talking to him, and I'm kind of on the phone, you know, every couple of days. And how's it going? I'm good. I'm learning these songs. I'm learning them. And he learned them really quickly. And then he showed up for sound check, and we had an extended sound check that day, but there were like 5 other bands. So we couldn't just sit up there and rehearse for like a week. So we did the first song, and I'm playing it, and I'm looking at Michael and looking at Alan. All of our eyes are like, wow, listen to this guy. And so anyway, after we were done with sound check, we were all like, wow, this is going to be a lot of fun, man. And we did the show, and he just blew everybody away. I mean, it was like incredible how the reception, the fans embraced him and everything. And we sent the videotape of the show to CJ, and CJ said, wow, you know, Bill, that's your guy. So, and CJ and Nate became good friends. They talked all the time, you know, probably daily, about just singing and about stuff. And they became really good friends. And CJ, while he was recovering, you know, publicly told everybody, yeah, go see the band with Nate Peck. He's phenomenal. And CJ didn't want to cancel any shows. He didn't want us to cancel any shows. He wants the music to keep going. And that's what Nate's helped us be able to do, is keep the band going, keep the songs going with respect to CJ.
That's so good to hear that, Bill. That is so good. And Nate, thank you for helping Bill, Michael, and Alan keep this great music alive.
It is so great to get an endorsement like that, you know, because a lot of times when something like that happens, you know, sadly, someone comes in and there's no, you know, not to say that there's no like handing off, but this seems like it was meant to be. And, you know, he got the okay from CJ, which is, I think is perfect, you know, and it does help to keep you guys going. So
it meant a lot to us. I know it meant a lot to Nate. It meant a lot to our fans. And, you know, it was very difficult when we learned that CJ passed. It was unexpected because, you know, CJ the day before had texted me and he said, yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm gaining some weight. Things are looking up. And then the next day I got a call from his girlfriend that he had passed away that night, the day before, with a sudden cardiac arrest.
Oh man.
So
wow.
You know, it was brutal, but
it's never easy, but you know, thankfully the internet is here and people are here, so we'll be able to remember him forever, you know.
Yeah.
No one will ever forget him, and you can always click a link. And you know, I know you guys, I'm sure you guys pay him homage at every show. You know, even watching on the internet that Striper paid an homage to him. They sang All She Wrote, and a lot of bands are doing that, which is kind of cool. You know,
it's wonderful.
Very cool.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's excellent. Those are cool picks, Tony.
Yeah, Alan's picks right here. Alan, if you're watching, thank you. I have another one of Alan's. Check this out.
Wow.
I like that.
So look at that.
Nice.
So Bill, speaking of Striper.
Yeah, great band.
I'm sort of the nostalgic, sappy guy in the band who always goes back to the 80s. I mean, if you look at my guest room here, it's all Van Halen and stuff. And I got Ozzy and I got all kinds of 80s stuff here. Anyway,
great taste.
Back in '87, I got married, and my wedding song was Striper. Michael Sweet's an amazing
Honestly?
song. No,
Oh.
it's All of Me. So
cool.
So anyway, and you had an incredible wedding song as well. Love of a Lifetime. Unfortunately, it wasn't out at the time that I got married, but we would have picked that one. But anyway, so how does it feel to be listed as the #1 wedding song from Bridal Magazine, and it's also part of so many ballad compilations. I know back in the day when I was parking with the lady and stuff, and I'd slip in the power ballad CD. FireHouse was definitely on there, and I'm sure there's many 34-year-olds that are walking around today that have no clue that they were conceived to a FireHouse song. So how does it feel to have a song like that just went crazy?
Well, it's a wonderful feeling. And before I get into that, I just want to tell you that it's never too late to renew your vows and have love of a lifetime as your song.
That's perfect, Ed.
A footnote right there.
Yeah.
I got divorced 3 years later.
Oh.
And when I hopped into the car after the court session, I played All She Wrote.
All She Wrote.
So you a wedding song and a divorce song. Look at that.
We try to have songs for all occasion, for every occasion. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that, but
that's all right.
The fact that people get that emotional attachment to something you help create is a wonderful feeling, and to have people brought together and love around a song like that, it's a great feeling, and that blows my mind. We'll have people come up and say, "Yeah, we got married to love of a lifetime," and you think they're coming up to you to charge you, or with aggression, but I want to let you know I got married to love of a lifetime. I'm like, wow, okay, cool, that's wonderful. But I've had a lot of DJs say they use that song a lot in a lot of their events, and When I Look Into Your Eyes is another song that we had some weddings with, and then in like '95 we had one called I Live My Life for You that came out, and that was a huge hit for us at a time when bands like us weren't having any songs on the radio, but that one broke into the top 40 for us, and then overseas it went to like #1 in a lot of places. So
yeah, our friend in the chat, Adam Roach, who I think interviewed you a few times.
Hey Adam, love Adam.
I live for I live my life for you.
Love you, Adam.
Fantastic.
Cool.
So I highlighted that. So yeah,
right.
that's cool.
So
that's awesome.
After watching some tour footage of you, especially the Japan stuff, that kind of documentary, I noticed that you were sort of the jokester, the sort of class clown of the band, always playing jokes and being funny. Did you guys let off steam by playing pranks on each other or anything like that?
Yeah.
Really?
We used to love doing that, and I love comedy. I'm not a very good comedian, but
we can tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that you love comedy.
Yeah.
Way to go, Ed.
But I, we did so many pranks on each other, and some of our one of our favorite ones was, well, one that we always do. Anybody that joins the organization crew or whatever, for the first time, we'll go to one of these restaurants where they'll come by and bring you a cake and sing happy birthday to you, and we'll tell them that it's so-and-so's birthday. So we'll do that and embarrass them in front of everybody. But the other thing that we would do that might have been a little cruel, because we always had to get our sleep, but we stayed in some hotels that had the little breakfast menu, and you'd hang it on your door, and you'd order breakfast, and we'd just check everything and put 6 a.m. and then put it on the person's door that we wanted to mess up. And then the person would roll in the cart with the breakfast at 6 a.m. and I didn't order that. Well, it's on your door. So we did that a couple of times. And, after a while, people catch on to your stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I still we love to laugh and we love to blow off steam, and
Right.
we're joking around all the time. We have a guy that's been our tour manager for, God, I think he started with us in 2002, but then he
Wow.
took off for a while. His name's Joey Arias, and he took off for a while to drum tech for Eric Singer in Alice Cooper, and then Eric got called up to KISS again to do stadiums and stuff, and then Joey came back to work with us, and he is a real comedian, so he keeps us laughing all the time. Even on stage when we're in the middle of playing, he'll do stuff that just makes you stop being so serious. This is fun. We're having a good time. So we do that, and not to leave out our sound engineer who's been with us for 22 years, 23 years now, Tony. He's Tony Avatar. He's a hysterical guy as well. But Alan's hysterical, and Nate's hysterical, and Michael is always making me laugh. So it's I'm surrounded by positive vibes and a lot of laughter all the time. So it's
Nice.
Bill, that's incredible.
Bill, we all love the I guess the 1991 Rockin' Japan kind of documentary. If you're a Firehouse fan, that's kind of like the Live Without a Net for Van Halen fans,
I wish, but thank you.
But that's the go-to. If you're a Firehouse fan, that is the one you want to see, I think. But
You guys
yeah,
definitely had fun.
Yeah.
absolutely. So let me ask you specifically about the Don't Treat Me Bad video at the end with you catching the guitar. We've always wondered about that. Can you elaborate, Bill?
Oh, sure. So that was our first video we ever made. We didn't know what to expect. Record company didn't know what to expect either. We had just gotten a song that had just started kind of creeping up the chart a little bit. And they gave us a $10,000 video. And we did it in a club, shot it in a club in Richmond, Virginia, our hometown. And the director's name was Jean Pellerin. He was from, I think, Montreal, Canada. But he was great. And he had this idea where it was going to look the way it looked. And at the very end, the girl who was acting as my girlfriend was going to throw my guitar, when all my belongings, my amp and everything, out the window because I was coming home late after partying with the band guys, And she threw everything. The last thing she threw out the window was my guitar. And they had this shot at the very end where they threw it. She threw it out the window, and I had to catch it and then walk away with my head down because I knew I'd been kicked out of the apartment. And I walked with my head down with the other guys, and Perry gives her a gesture, and that was it. But the thing about that last shot was they had to drop it from that second story window, and they had a camera on the headstock pointing down.
Oh boy.
At me as I looked up, and the director's like, you need to put some gloves on for this because this is heavy because it's got the camera on it too. And the camera was, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds or something like that.
Ooh.
So they dropped it, and I caught it first take, and I'm glad I did catch it first take because it was heavy. And then I walked away. They edited it, and I'm walking away with the guitar. And but that was, I don't know what kind of guitar it was. They got it at a pawn shop that day with a TV and a VCR and an amp that wasn't, it was. They went to the pawn shop and got all this stuff that made it look like it was my belongings, a couple of albums, like a Hendrix album, and she's throwing that stuff out the window, and they're shooting it. So that's kind of how that happened. But that guitar was heavy because it had that camera on it.
I bet.
I've always wondered. We love that, Bill. That is so classic.
I will say that was the first version of that video. After the song broke into like the top 20 or something, the record company said, we got to shoot the video again because the budget on that and the look of it looks a little under budget compared to what the song is doing on the charts. So we want to fly you out to LA. We're going to re-record a video for Don't Treat Me Bad in LA on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, we're going to record the next song we're going to put out, Love of a Lifetime. So we said, sure, let's go out there and do it. So we went to downtown LA for Don't Treat Me Bad version 2, and they blew up a bunch of buildings and had a bunch of fire and stuff like that, and shot that video. But I like it. It's a good video, but I still like that first one better. I think it captured us the way we were at that time. Yeah. And not a lot of blowing up a lot of stuff and all that. It was just really us in a club, and then the little side story of the girlfriend boyfriend kind of thing. Kind of, she's pissed off because I'm late coming home. So that's what that was.
Yeah, I mean, there's videos that they take a long time to do, and you have to do them many times. So it's got to be. I'm not gonna. You almost get sick of hearing your song. You have to do it again. You got to do this. You got to do that, right? So
yeah, you kind of feel like you're really kind of faking it. But the cool thing about that first video was that there was an audience there for most of it.
That's awesome.
We were in there in the afternoon at sound check, and we went through the song maybe 4 or 5 times, and he captured some shots of us up close. But the rest of that video, there was an audience in there, and we played the song live maybe 3 times for them to let them know, hey, you're going to be in the video. We're going to do this song a few times so we have a few takes. And the audience was great, and they were with us, and it was a packed house, and it was a lot of fun in a club,
I'm sure they didn't care to hear that.
They didn't care.
Times.
They were, and they didn't really know the song yet, like they did later, maybe, I guess.
Nice.
What was your live rig like, Bill, back in 1991 and 1992?
It was Yamaha T50 amps. It was Yamaha's licensed Soldano amplifiers. I played a couple of 50-watt heads, and had a dry cabinet in the middle, and then a couple of wet cabinets left and right, and gave the sound man 3 signals. So we had 3 mics on my cabinets, and that was it. And then effects wise, I had an IntelliFX delay, and I had an SPX 900 for a little bit of reverb, and I always, when I went to the clean channel, I always had a compressor before the head, and it's been my old faithful Boss, the little blue compressor. Now they've got one built into this Fractal. It sounds exactly like it. So I use that FM3, the I forget what they call it. They don't call it the Boss compressor, but it sounds just like it. And and for solos, when it was time to do a lead, I'd step on a tube screamer, and I just had the tone controls and the drive control just up at 12 o'clock, so halfway up on everything, and that felt good to me. So that's what I went with.
Nice. Michael Foster in the chat. The great Michael Foster.
Michael Foster.
Right on. Thanks for being here.
What's up, brother?
Yes. Thanks for the drumsticks. I'm gonna show a few.
Yeah. Michael Foster's drumsticks they're like logs. That's some big sticks, man. And he hits hard. He's the hardest hitting guy out there, and he's got the best groove. And it's hard to explain, but when you're playing with Michael Foster, it's so easy to play with. He just creates this huge groove, and it's just so easy to groove into it. I think something magical about that.
He's one of my favorites of all time, and I'm not a drummer, but he is definitely it. Yes, love Michael Foster.
I think he started playing drums right when he was born, and he grew up with the cool parents who listened to Elvis, and his dad had connections in the venues around town through the police department, and so Michael got to go see all these great concerts when he was a kid. He saw the Jackson 5.
That's awesome.
He saw, he's told me a bunch of bands that he saw, but I'm jealous because in his childhood, he got to see all these bands, and he started playing drums when he was really young, and it shows. I mean, he listens to everybody. He's just got this huge vocabulary of a mind of rhythm and sounds and percussion, and how to make the song elevate in its feel, and he's just the master at that.
Those songs, absolutely great drummer, one of the greats in my opinion.
Well, when we recorded our first album, he was done in a day. And our producer was the drummer who played for Santana, and he also played drums for Patti LaBelle. So Michael was, being watched by our producer like a hawk. I'm sure Michael felt pressure, but you'd never know it because he just went in there and just had fun and just played everything. And it was like, well, that's perfect. Let's move on. And me, on the other hand, I had a lot of trouble. I was all nervous, and I still get nervous when I record. But Michael, he's just got that natural. He has that relaxed feel, but he's hitting so hard, which is so hard to do. So he's got the dynamics where when he plays soft, it comes way down to soft. So he's not just playing here normally. He's playing here when he's really hitting it hard. And there's that huge dynamic range that he has, which is, he plays every drum and cymbal on his kit is its own instrument. And he's taught me a lot about that. So I owe a lot to Michael.
Yeah, man, I am such a fan. My goodness, guys, thank you for this music. I've loved it for years and years and years and years. My goodness. Wow.
Thank you.
What are you listening to now, Bill? Like, what's on your Spotify, or like when you're hanging out and doing stuff?
Last couple of things I was listening to was old Aerosmith. I can't get away from that. That first album to me is the greatest debut rock album that ever came out. And, I was listening to One Way Street last, and that's just like, to me, a masterpiece rock and roll song. So that, I mean, cool. Newer music, I haven't really had time to listen to anything new. The last thing I've been working on for the last, several weeks was our latest song we put out. And mixing that took me probably, 30 times as long as it did for everybody to record it. Wow. I mean, I just, I kept finding little flaws in the mix and going, we're not ready to let it go yet. And Michael helping me with getting things sounding better. I'd send him a mix and I'd say, what do you think of that? And he'd say, you probably get this better. And Nate helped a lot too. And Alan, Alan came in to record the thing. We went to dinner, and that night he recorded it, and then we were done. He sang too. He sang all his parts, and we were done. And I was like, wow. Now, why does it take me so long? These guys are really good.
Yeah.
Well, it came through. You did it justice. It's an excellent song.
I appreciate it. I'm lucky to be in a band with such great musicians. I'll tell you that.
They are, absolutely.
Nate
sure. And Michael, you're welcome to jump on here. We can provide a link in the chat if you care. But it is great to see you guys. Upcoming gigs here, Bill, soon?
Yeah, I think we got like 35, 36 for the rest of the year, and we'll probably have another 10 or so that'll get added. That our agent doesn't have fully confirmed. So if it's fully confirmed, to me, it's all a dream until it comes true. And then when it comes true is when it's confirmed. Because a lot of people say, I can't wait to have you guys and have you guys at our show. And then it never works out for some reason or another. But yeah, I think we'll have another 35. We've done about 15 so far this year. So we'll end up this year with doing about 50 shows, I think.
Great.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to try to catch you in Connecticut. It's closest to me. I'm in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh, so cool. I missed the Chance was a great venue. I know it closed.
The Chance. Yeah,
it was great. We played there probably 4 times. I love that venue. It was a great place.
It did close. It is going to be reopening. But they're kind of trying to make it more upscale. I liked it the way it was. I loved it there. So we'll see. But if it does open up, hopefully you guys will play there again. But
that's a great venue.
Yeah, so Monroe, Connecticut's like an hour from me, so I'll definitely make that.
Oh, cool, buddy.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to shaking your hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in northern Massachusetts, and I was hoping you guys would come to like the Hampton Beach Club Casino, or
we played.
I know you've been there. I know you've been there with Dawkins. about
Yeah.
13 years ago, or whatever it was.
Well, hopefully they'll have us back.
Yeah, I hope somebody around my area has you back. Otherwise, I'll have to do a lot of traveling.
Well, hopefully we will soon. I know our agent's working on it, and it's
Cool.
hopefully soon.
Cool. Hopefully it expands. You cite Eddie Van Halen and Uncle Ted as some of your influences. Have you ever met either one of them?
Yes.
Really?
So in my early stages of playing guitar, the first song I learned, like I said, was Sweet Home Alabama. Then I learned Smoke on the Water like everybody else. And then I was learning a bunch of songs. Then I found out about Ted Nugent. This buddy of mine had this Pioneer stereo system and these Pioneer headphones, and he played Stranglehold for me. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I went and bought that album, and then Ted Nugent came to the Richmond, it was called the Richmond Mosque back then. Yeah. And it's a big theater, beautiful theater, sounded incredible. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard. And he was the wildest thing I've ever seen. And what do you know? I huge Ted fan. Got the next album, Free for All. Got his Weekend Warriors. In my high school talent show, I did Need You Bad, which was off of I forget the name of that album, but I did Need You Bad, and he was probably my biggest influence as for my formative years. We'll call it that.
Okay.
And what do you know? But in '93, we wound up getting the Poison tour, and the band that was the middle band on the bill was Damn Yankees. So I got to meet Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent came in and introduced himself like, well, we all know who you are, dude. Thank you. And I was like, dude, you're my biggest influence. And he was so cool. I had the pleasure of having dinner with him a few nights on that tour.
Oh, wow.
On fairly regular occasion. He was really cool. And I'd warm up with this little battery-powered Marshall that I would plug in and then stick on my belt. And he'd come up and go, oh, that's cool. Let me check your guitar out. And he'd play something on it. And I go, oh, I can't believe that I got Ted Nugent, playing guitar and showing me licks and stuff. So Ted's a hero of mine. Eddie Van Halen, I did get to meet him very briefly, and it was when we won the American Music Award in 1992 is when they gave it to us. It was the 1991 American Music Award for Best Hard Rock Heavy Metal Band, and we accepted the award, and then our publicist said, now follow me, don't get out of line, we're going to go and get your picture taken in this other room, and everybody stay together. So she starts walking through this crowd, and of course I'm like looking, and I go, wow, there's Eddie and Alex Van Halen. I'll be back. And I went over there and I put my hand out to Eddie Van Halen, and I said, I want to let you know I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Thank you so much, and thank you, Alex. And they both looked at me and smiled and nodded their head, and I said, I'm sorry, buddy, I got to get back, because they were talking to a record company executive of some sort, and but they were really nice, and it wasn't like, oh, get lost, kid. It was like very cool. And so I walked away going, I just had a conversation with Eddie Van Halen, and he nodded to me. But yeah, Eddie was, once I learned the basics on the fretboard and kind of learned how to kind of navigate and started learning songs. That record came out in 1978, and that made me go, oh, I want to do that. So I had already seen Kiss live, and I'd seen Ted Nugent. I'd seen a bunch of great bands, but when that Van Halen record came out, every song was perfect. The background vocals were so cool. All the melodies and all the lyrics and those guitar rhythms were so well orchestrated, and then the solos were just mind blowing. And so I was like on a mission to go see them live, and they didn't come to Richmond. So my high school, a guy who wound up being my college roommate, who was also a drummer, and he took his drums to college. We were in our dorm room with a drum kit and my guitar and an amp, and the people who were in our dorm, around us didn't like us too much because we were always playing. But that guy did really well. He went on to become a doctor. But anyway, so we drove up to the Capitol Center in Washington, D.C. It's about 90 miles north of where we were living, and snuck in through the back door to the Capitol Center.
Damn.
And, there was nobody in there but us and the crew. And then this guy walks up with a few other guys and says, so who are you guys? And we said, oh, we're friends with the building manager. He goes, oh, yeah, you're talking to the guy. I was like, oh, well, somebody we know said it was okay to talk to you and that you'd, he goes, look, you guys sticking out like sore thumbs. You're going to have to leave. So we were like, oh, gosh, what are we going to do? The show sold out. And we went around front. Somebody sold us some scalp tickets. So I got to see them. It was on there. It might have been Women and Children First by then, or may have been their second record. I think it was probably Women and Children First tour. And it would have been 1979 or 80, but because they were putting out records really quickly. So it's probably 1980. Yep. And I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never seen a band that was so entertaining and so good at the same time. And of course, Eddie, I'm just like going, how does he get all that coming out of that one guitar,
Crazy.
And running around like he did. So yeah, that was a life-changing moment for me. And I saw him a couple of times after that. And then I got to meet him. So that's my Ted Nugent, Eddie Van Halen story.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You guys' live show was rather hot itself, Bill.
Well, thanks, man.
All the eras of FireHouse, but yeah, good gosh, when you guys came out, it was like pow. You guys were heavy live. You brought it. You guys freaking brought it.
Well, thanks, man. We all cared so much about making that show sound as good as we could every night, and we rehearsed really hard. We rehearsed our vocals. We rehearsed everything, and we always tried to make the show better. And we had a great sound man. We've always had a great sound man. So we feel like that's kind of like your secret weapon is when you got a good sound man that can make you sound better than you really are. So
yeah. So those solos on all those FireHouse songs are so memorable, Bill. They really are. Even deep cuts they are. How'd you write those? Is there like something you do to write solos? And it sounds to me like you duplicate those every night live too.
Well, I try to reproduce the memorable parts of those solos, and a lot of them, I had, when we wrote, let's say All She Wrote, that solo that's on that demo is the same solo that I'm playing today. I play along with the rhythm tracks, and I just try to come up with something that makes me feel like, okay, let's go with that. And then I go to the next part, and then I'll go to the next part, and then I'll listen back to the whole thing. And if it all seems like it flows well, then that's what I'll keep. So I think it's sitting down there in front of that tape machine, or now it's a hard drive, but back in the old days, it was a tape machine, and just playing and listening to the rhythm section and then humming in my head what I thought would work. Rather than playing it with my fingers, I tried to hum it in my head and with my voice, with my ears, instead of going with the fingers first, go with my heart first, and then figure out how to play it. So that was what worked for me the best, instead of just sitting around noodling with it, because I didn't really get much done when I did it that way. If I set the guitar in my lap and then just listen to that and then started humming something and then rewound it and then hum again and see if I can improve upon it, then try to play it. That's how I did it. I still do it that way.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Yeah, well,
for sure.
Still trying to get it better.
Yeah.
Do you prefer overdubs or a single track when you're doing recordings?
I wish I could do it all in one take. You know, I overdub because well, even on this last song we did, my intention was to have it all as one track, and I started getting into it and recording that one track, and I'm like, okay, I think it's ready. And then the little devil on this shoulder said, hey, just record another rhythm track and double that and see if you like it better.
Yeah,
So
double it.
it's
Double
like,
it,
well,
Joe.
and this one said, no, just go with one track, you know. And I went, well, I'll do it once for you. And I put another track in and doubled it and then panned them left and right. And I was like, that sounds so much better. So I had to do that. And then when it came time to do the solos, it was, you know, I got to have a little rhythm guitar going in the background to keep the harmonic information going so that you can tell whether it's a major chord or a minor chord or a minor seventh or whatever. Right. And, or an octave or whatever. So I do that, and then I'll put the solo over top of that. In the old records, I triple tracked the solos on that first record. I recorded them 3 times because I was really into Randy Rhoads, and Randy Rhoads had all his solos triple tracked, and I was like, man, I want to get it to sound like Randy Rhoads. You know? And so I, you know, went with that formula. The producer's like, yeah, we shouldn't do that. I was like, oh, please let me triple track the solos. He's like, well, if you can get them done in time. So, and I did. And so those are triple track solos. And in a song like All She Wrote, there might be 6 or 7 tracks going because all the harmonies that are going at the during that solo. I got some harmony stuff going on.
Yeah. So Bill, tell us about this new song, this new FireHouse song that we're hearing.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, it's only available on our website right now. We're not putting it on the streaming services yet, and that's to get the fans who really want to support us to go there and support us directly. So with Spotify, there's so many middlemen in between. We wanted to just see what it would be like to do it directly, and we've gotten a great reaction from our friends and family and fans and supporters. And it started out where I had Nate said, hey, man, send me a riff. And I said, okay. So I sent him this riff, and he sang it over his phone in a voice memo and sent it back to me with what became the first verse. And I was like, man, I love it, dude. Let me see if we can come up with something else. And I sent him some more music for a chorus, and we bounced back and forth and had a chorus. And then all we needed was a way to get from the verse to the chorus. So we got some music going for that, some lyrics, and then we were like, well, we probably need a bridge before the solo. So we put that together, and it was done. And as it was coming together, Michael lives, 45 minutes from me, and he'd come over and lay down some drums. So we had some drums to work with, so we could feel how it was developing. And then he'd go, hey man, I'm gonna come over there tomorrow because I'm going to add a kick drum here, take away a snare drum. I'm going to change the way I do my hi-hats here. And let me just do that. So it's like, yeah, sure. And I got a drum kit set up. So he'd come in and record, and that was all done in real time. And then, like I said, Alan came over and knocked it out. We had some gigs here in Virginia, and he came in the night before and just laid it down. I was like, you sure you don't want to come in 2 nights before? He said, no, I got it. And I was like, all right. And damn if he didn't, he just knocked it right out. And then sang all his parts, and Michael came over and sang all his parts. And then, Nate came in. I had Nate, because lead vocals are hard. They take a little bit of time. I had him coming in on a Friday night. We were going to sing all day Saturday, and he was going to fly home on Sunday. And he came in on Friday night. We went out to dinner and hung out for a little bit at this restaurant, and all relaxed and everything. And driving home, I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you feel like singing, we can sing. He goes, oh yeah, I feel like singing. I feel good. I was like, great. So we came down here, put the mic up, and he sang it and nailed it. He freaking nailed it. And I was like, wow. Well, let's come back and look at it tomorrow, because maybe we're just kind of I'm thinking maybe I'm just enamored with how great it sounds, and maybe tomorrow I'll find some kind of flaw in it. I couldn't find anything the next day, so we're like, well, what are we going to do all day? We were going to sing, and so we hung out and we talked and we experimented with some ideas to try to improve it or change it or different inflections and stuff. But he nailed it on that first take, and that's how that guy is. I mean, he's just got this extremely powerful voice with incredible range and unbelievable control of it, and a tone that is so unique and so good. And so he's just
it pays perfect homage to these classic songs, Bill.
Thank you.
And I know you agree. It is, yeah. So Nate, thank you for knocking these songs out of the park every time.
Yeah.
Bro, we love these songs. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
I've got a quick statement about the new song. Listening to it, of course, we bought it. Paid more than $1 too, by the way.
Thank you.
Anyway,
thank you so much.
Anyway, I just want to let you know that the intro sounds a lot. The drums are incredible. The intro sounds a lot like Everybody Wants Some, and I keep going back to Van Halen. Sorry, because we're big Van Halen fans.
Me too.
I
didn't think of that.
It sounds like Everybody Wants Some. When I was listening to it, and I listened to it over and over, I said, "Wow, this is." I mean, I'm not saying you guys are copying or whatever, but it's really cool the way that it starts and the way that the drums kick in, and then of course your guitar, and then Nate's vocals. Incredible rocking song. It's awesome. I love it.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I know that would be a huge compliment to Michael, because Alex Van Halen was one of his greatest influences as well. And but the idea of fading it in was Michael's idea. So let's fade it in instead of just start. I'm like, that's a really cool idea. And then he's got all the percussion ideas in his head and all these ways to make it. It creates a mood in the beginning of that song, and then Alan comes in with his bass line, which reminds me of like a Deep Purple kind of influence kind of thing. And then but thank you. That's very cool. I mean, to be in the mentioned in the same paragraph with Van Halen is
right. Celia says it correct when she said it. I love the jungle vibe intro, just like Everybody Wants Some. It's kind of you hear the woo-hoo in the background, and Everybody Wants Some anyway. It's that vibe. It sets the tone of the song.
Sets the tone for the song.
Yeah. And you know something great is coming soon.
Well, thank you. We had so much fun recording it. We can't wait to do another one.
Awesome.
Let me ask you this, Bill, one last thing, and let's go back. And I want to give a shout out to the great Alan McKenzie, to FireHouse bass player. Yes, sir. So Perry leaves. How smooth was the transition at first, and were there unknowns? And because Alan has obviously stepped in very, very nicely and become one of the FireHouse family, and for a number of years now.
Al's been with us for 22 years.
That's crazy.
Wow.
He is, a musical genius, in my opinion. He knows more music. He's forgotten about more music than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
He comes from a prog kind of background, but he loves rock and roll. And he was the lead singer and bass player in this huge Rush tribute band that was playing in the Midwest. And he was Geddy Lee, and he played bass, and he sang, and he played foot pedals and all that stuff. And so when we called him and said, "Hey, would you like to come out and play a couple of gigs with us and see if you like us and if we like you?" He's like, "Sure." And we loved him right away. And the hardest part of his job is not the bass playing; it's the singing. He's a lead singer, and he's got a really, really powerful voice and a huge range, and he sings all of the really, really high stuff.
Wow.
And he nails it every night. I mean, he's just got this awesome voice. So
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does.
Cool.
He does.
Yeah, Rush happens
Absolutely.
to be my favorite band. So
yeah, there you go.
I
Well,
I heard that through his music. You know, you can hear the influence, and that's definitely. I mean, that's a tough thing to do. You know, just play
Yeah.
bass alone and sing and do pedals, and I mean, all you guys just to this level, just shocks me. Yeah, I have these guitars behind me, can't play a thing. So, it's, but you know, it's very. I love all kinds of music, and music is like a time machine. You know, we've said it before, so it like brings you back. You hear stuff, you hear a lick in a song, you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that time. So,
yeah.
you know, your music does that for me. I'm sure for others, and I'm sure
thank
for
you.
years
Thank
to
you.
come it will. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that, man.
absolutely. This music is huge, and we've loved it for many
Sure.
years. Let me real quick. Let me show Michael's drumsticks here
Oh, look at
before he kills me.
Oh, there you
that.
go.
And thank you,
he
thank
is in the
you.
chat, so
Yeah, thank you. Let me show you this other one too. That is a little older than
That one's been chewed up a little bit.
yeah,
yeah.
kind of,
Wow.
sort of.
Did your dog get a hold of that, Tony?
No, Michael did.
Stage
All
played,
right.
man.
So that's used.
Stage played. He beat it up.
There we
Wow.
are.
Wow.
Excellente.
Nice. Wow. Um, this has been such a good. I'm still beside myself that we even have you here tonight, Bill. I am such a fan, and thank you for allowing us to indulge in your career and the history of the great Firehouse.
Hey, well, thanks for
And
letting me show you my pick.
Yes.
right
And
on.
this one's got a little smudgy. It's I've worn this one out a little bit, but thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate your guys' time, and I look forward to seeing you at a show real soon.
Yes,
For sure.
go see them out on the
Yes.
road in a city near you. Mighty Fine Lady is the new song. FirehouseMusic.com, Leverty.com. Yeah,
Yeah, go
go
buy it.
get it. And keep the Firehouse flame lit. That is great music and a great catalog. The first two are untouchable. I absolutely love them. Thank you again, Bill, for this music.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah,
And I'll show you on the way out here. There you go. There's the artwork for our new song. Oh, it's a little reflective there, but you can get the idea.
Oh,
Oh,
And
nice.
there she is, Mighty Fine Lady. So
Did
I
someone
appreciate you guys having me. And
Did someone
Right on.
influence Mighty Fine Lady, or is it just something that you know? Was it somebody come
all
to
the Mighty
mind, or-
Fine Ladies have influenced us
There you
over the
go.
years. So
That's the right answer, Bill.
yeah.
Excellent,
Everybody,
excellent.
thanks for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Bill Leverty.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week right back here. Show me your pick 252. Have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Be safe.